Welcome to the Reasonable Southerner podcast. The South isn't all magnolias in the moonlight, but neither is it all racism and violence. We are just like you. My name is Frances Coleman. I share my insights about my life and yours.
Jeopardy answer. Mike Richards. Jeopardy question. Who resigned as the newly crowned host of the popular game show after just one day of taping? There's no question about why Richards stepped down from Jeopardy. It was for the same reason people quit high-profile jobs, resign from political office, and otherwise make themselves scarce on very short notice. Somebody dug around in his past and came up with an assortment of offensive, derogatory, and off-color remarks he'd made over the years. Now, here's another Jeopardy answer. Don't. Just don't. And the question is, what should you do when you're tempted to post vicious comments on Facebook, send profane text, and share racy photos of yourself, or try to be edgy on a podcast? A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there was no such thing as social media. Personal computers were clunky, and no one had ever heard of an iPhone or a podcast. Heck, in those days, if you wanted to see a newly released film, you had to go to an actual movie theater. I'm not saying there were no opportunities or situations in which you could embarrass yourself, but those opportunities and situations weren't omnipresent. A celebrity had to slip up in an interview or in front of a microphone. If ordinary people said something that could later be used against them, it was usually in correspondence or in front of credible witnesses. These days, those days are officially the old days, and they have been the old days for more than 20 years. Now everyone, including children, has digital fingerprints. Unless you're a hermit, then things you've written, spoken, or texted still exist somewhere. At least some of the photographs that you've taken and some of the photographs that people have taken of you are floating around cyberspace too. Ditto for podcast, broadcast, and videos. You can try to wish them away. You can hit delete. You can assume that your posts and photos are password protected from prying eyes. Here's the truth, however. If you have ever said, shared, texted, or posted stuff that could one day bite you, then prepare to be bitten. It's out there, waiting to be discovered. Don't believe me? Ask a celebrity, a disgraced politician, or a friend who's going through a bitter divorce. More than likely, they've all had cyber dirt flung in their faces. For the celebrity, it could be nude photos for which she posed when she was young and foolish. For the politician, it might be a suggestive email he sent to a staff member. For your friend who's in the middle of an ugly breakup, his or her digital fingerprints may include vicious text, revelatory Facebook post, lewd photos, and profane, even threatening voicemails. The Facebook posts by that bad boy attempting to clean himself up are not the worst part. It turns out most folks have a bad case of what we once called verbal diarrhea. Back in the day, people only talked on the telephone or to each other. Now their words are captured, enshrined, and preserved in the bane of foolish motor mouths everywhere, the text message. There was a time when someone would have to be in the basement of your apartment building, wiring a headset into what was called a cable pair. That's kid stuff. Now people freely type out their stupid speech in a text message. A little text missive that says, "I'm going to kill you, cut your heart out and eat it," can be pretty hard to deny. As for password protection, there's a word for that. It's spelled SUBPOENA. Nearly 10 years ago, after I was laid off from my newspaper job, I worked in my husband's and son's law office for a while. I can't tell you how many times I heard clients spluttering to one of the attorneys that there was no way they would turn over their social media passwords even if there was a subpoena. The lawyer would say, "We'll object to it as a fishing expedition, but you'd better understand that every stupid thing you posted on the internet, sent in an email, or flashed out in a text message will be before that judge." Judge, spouse, employer, or the public in general. It's a sure bet. One thing that is certain is that everything you've ever said is still out there. I attended a conference a long time ago when the internet was a pretty new thing. Social media was just getting cranked up, and everyone from pro football players to porn stars to the teenager to the pedophile down the street was learning how to post, photograph, text, and chat everything they thought, should have thought, or wished they'd never said or done. The star attraction that day was a Southern police officer right out of Central Casting, if Central Casting really knew what a Southern police detective looked like. He was young, handsome, and carefully dressed in khaki slacks. His blue blazer fit him well and was probably tailored around his shoulder holster. His lapel sported a miniature badge. "Folks," he said, "there is no delete button on the internet. Everything that has ever been there is still there, somewhere." He proceeded to explain that the airy and ethereal idea of cyberspace was really a huge gang of computers housed in a bunch of widely dispersed air-conditioned warehouses somewhere. All of that stuff is out there, he said, just waiting to be found. Like the myth that we throw garbage away, the notion that something can be deleted from the internet was branded for the wishful thinking that it is. Lots of would-be television hosts, defendants, and embarrassed politicians learned this the hard way. There are two ways you can outwit the people who might be trying to follow your digital tracks. Either don't leave any, which is almost impossible, or make sure you consider the ramifications of everything you say and do online and on your phone before you say and do it. If that sounds like a terribly involved mental process, it isn't. Just remind yourself not to text, post, share, or otherwise pass along anything, and I do mean anything, that you would not post on a highway billboard for all the world to see. Mike Richards wanted to succeed the late Alex Trebek as host of Jeopardy. He apparently didn't think, know, or care that the disparaging remarks he made years ago would be uncovered by nosy journalists. And now, let's play another round of Jeopardy. Answer: puppies, kittens, and babies. Question: when it comes to social media, text, and emails, what topics should you stick to if you aspire to be a TV star, run for political office, or prevail in a divorce? There's no strategy of picking high-dollar answers first, no daily double, and no final Jeopardy answer that will save you from the certainty that every stupid thing you've ever said is out there waiting for you to choose the wrong answer, without a hint at how devastating that final question will be.
I'm Frances Coleman. I've worked for newspapers for more than 45 years, from Texas to my native Louisiana, and finally to my home near Mobile, Alabama. I've been a reporter, an editorial writer, a columnist, and an editorial page editor. I've commented on the BBC, been a guest on the Rachel Maddow Show, and had my column distributed nationwide. If you like this podcast, please follow it. It's free, and even if you don't like it, I hope you'll find it thought-provoking.